Hello, welcome to JoyNews today with me, Ernest. Coming up in the next 60 minutes, robbers shoot dead a phone dealer believed to be in his early 30s at Ohim in Kumasi. We'll bring you details. Also, trial of suspects nabbed in connection with the murder of prospective nurse in Mankessim adjourned to October 4 to enable police conclude their investigations into the matter. We'll be live in Cape Coast for the very latest. Also, President Akufo-Addo questions the structure of the global economy, insisting it greatly puts emerging economies at a greater disadvantage. We have details of these stories, plus the latest in sports, world news, as well as showbiz, all coming up. Please stay with us. Hello again, thanks for staying with us here on the JoyNews channel. I am Ernest. A phone dealer in his early 30s, Wahab Abdul, has been shot dead by suspected armed robbers at Ohim in Kumasi. The robbers made away with 2 mobile phones. Residents say Wahab was shot twice in the stomach. Love FM's Nanayao Jima has been speaking to an eyewitness, and he joins us live with more on this. Nanayao, what has the eyewitness been telling you about this unfortunate incident? Hello, Nanayao, if you can hear me, you have been to the ground where this phone dealer was shot dead by suspected armed robbers. You've been speaking to some eyewitnesses on the ground on the situation. What have they been telling you about this unfortunate incident at Ohim in the Ashanti region? Well, it appears we do not have Nanayao Jima on the line. We're working the lines. Once we do, we'll bring you that account. Well, Nanayao Jima joins us live right now with an update of the situation. Nanayao, this is a very unfortunate story that is coming in just in the last few minutes. But on the ground, you've been speaking to eyewitnesses. Give us an account of what they've been telling you.
So, Ernest, according to the eyewitnesses, they heard loud noise, that's a cry of a woman, and later they had gunshots followed. That was when the young man, Wahab, was shot by the armed robbers. According to them, when they went in there, he was lying in a pool of blood, so they tried helping him, and that's taking him to the hospital. But unfortunately, when they got there, he was pronounced dead on arrival. Now, the information that we have from the lady who was in the house with Wahab is that they came in there seeking for his mobile phone. So after a period of struggle, Wahab gave them the mobile phone, and also the lady's phone was also taken from her by these armed robbers. It was after then that these people proceeded to shoot Wahab and kill him instantly.
I guess this might have sent shockwaves throughout the community. How are they reacting to this, and what was the mood there when you got to the ground?
Exactly. The people in the area are shocked by the incident. Even though there have been series of robberies in the area, and they haven't witnessed any of them being fatal. What they know is that whenever these people come in, they cut people with knives and other implements. But for them to go far to a point where they shoot to kill, this is the first time that they are witnessing that. Even though they say that armed robbery incidents are rampant in the area, it's not been fatal. So they want the police to strengthen patrols within the vicinity and also help bring the perpetrators of this particular crime to book.
And talking about this very incident, has the police been to the ground or a complaint made to the district office there?
So the information I have is that yesterday when they were carrying him to the police station, they met the police patrol team and they told them what has happened. So the patrol team came there in the night, that dawn, that Thursday morning, the dawn, the police patrol team was there, and later a crime scene investigation team also followed this morning to pick some evidence from the ground. So police are presently investigating the matter.
Nana, thank you very much for the update of this gruesome murder of the phone dealer at Ohim in the Ashanti region. We have more for you subsequently. But from the Ashanti region, let's go to the Central region now. A Cape Coast District Court has remanded a self-styled pastor, Michael Darko, and the Tufohene of Ekumfi Akwankrom, Christopher Eko Clark Kwanza, to police custody. The two are alleged to have kidnapped, killed, and buried Georgina Yabuche in an uncompleted story building for ritual purposes. They have been charged with attempting to commit crime, to wit murder, and are to reappear in court on the 4th of October 2022. Richard Kojo-Manu was in court and he joins us on the line with details of court proceedings. Richard, the court has granted the police more time to conclude their investigations on this issue. But first, run us through what transpired in court. You have details of the fact sheet. Well, we'll be getting Richard on the line shortly for us, but here's a wrap of what has happened so far, captured in the following report.
Nana Onya Clark, the Tufohene of Ekumfi Akwankrom, one of the two suspects in the killing of a 22-year-old aspiring trainee nurse in Mankessim, was picked up at his hideout at Akwankrom in the Ekumfi district. This was after a pastor confessed to helping him kidnap, kill, and secretly bury the lady. After the confession, the pastor led police investigators to the location where they buried the 22-year-old lady. The pastor is said to be the boyfriend of the sister of the deceased. He is alleged to have picked the deceased after her interview at the Ankafo College of Nursing. Georgina Asobuche went missing for 3 weeks. According to the family, the pastor and the chief first demanded a ransom of 15,000 Ghana cedis from them before they released the deceased. The police stated that after the family failed to pay the amount, the chief and the pastor allegedly killed the lady, buried her inside the chief's kitchen for ritual purposes. On Wednesday, the Mankessim District Police Command arrested Nana Clark Onya and had him transferred to the Regional Police Command in Cape Coast to assist in investigations. Central Regional Crime Officer Chief Superintendent David Jabbar confirmed the arrest and says both suspects are in regional police custody. He wants the public to give the police the maximum support to deal with miscreants in society.
Suspects in Cape Coast, they are now in police custody.
The two suspects are now in police custody. What I would tell the general public is to have faith in the police and trust that we can do a good job. You can attest to the fact that we have not slept on the job on this matter. Crime combat is a shared responsibility and not only the duty of the police. Assist our officers to deal with crime in your various areas.
Mankessim your able officers Mankessim district officer ni, crime officer ni. Information biya ebe boa bambo no. Monfa ma won ye de beye adwuma. Na ye de aboban aboa Mankessim man. Ani ye nyina ye ho.
Angry residents of Mankessim are calling on the police to deal ruthlessly with the two to serve as a deterrent to others.
Let's go live to Cape Coast now. Kojo-Manu joins us with an update of what transpired in court. Kojo, so we understand that their pleas were not taken. Hello, Kojo-Manu, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Ernest.
Yes, so their pleas were not taken. Why is that?
Well, so the police prosecutors pleaded with the court to allow them some time to finish with their investigations before the case could even commence. And so their pleas were not taken, and that is how come it's done. But let me walk you through the facts of the case as presented by the state prosecutors. We know the deceased is Georgina Asobuche, and she was an applicant seeking admission to the Ankafo Psychiatric Nursing School. She arrived in Cape Coast on the 8th of September 2022. Upon arrival, she called the pastor and informed him about his presence in the region and what she came to do. The pastor, a self-styled one, and boyfriend of the sister of the deceased, informed her he will pick her up after the interview. On the 9th of September, about midday, the chief and the pastor, we are told, plotted to kill the deceased for money rituals. They met at the Ankafo Psychiatric Nursing School
picked the deceased up in a taxi to pay the junction in Cape Coast, where the chief had parked his Benz car with a registration number 8686T. The chief drove to Upper Club where he is to put him off, took the deceased's iPhone and locked her in a room. The accused person went to Kojo-Manu, a suburb of Mankessim, where they dug a hole in an uncompleted story building belonging to the chief. They went back for the deceased and sent her to Kojo-Manu. The chief allegedly hit the deceased with a club where the deceased fell down. The pastor is also alleged to have held the neck of the deceased till she died. They took the hair of the deceased after killing her and left the uncompleted story building around 2 a.m. So a complaint was actually lodged to the police by the brother of the deceased, who is a military man based in Tapari, Alfredo. The police picked intelligence and started looking for the accused persons. And on the 19th of September, the pastor was arrested at Anumabo, where he admitted to the crime. He subsequently led the police to where the deceased had been buried. The body of the deceased was exhumed. The police further picked intelligence and Christopher Eko Clark Kwanza, the Tifuhin of a Kumfi Aquacrum, and Trader was arrested at his hideout at the Kumfi Aquacrum. He also admitted to the crime and stated that they did that for money rituals. And so the two accused, as we have indicated, were put before court today, and the police were not taken, presided over by her worship, Venice Mensma Akon. So they had to reappear to court on the 4th of October. They were charged with two charges, attempting or conspiracy to commit crime to wit murder and murder, contrary to Section 46 of the Criminal and Other Offences Act 1960.
And Richard, comprehensive report there, but tell us about the demeanor of the suspect when they were brought into court, especially seeing that this is an interest of the community.
Well, from where I sit, or where I sat in court, they looked remorseful. They wanted to plea with the court, but that is when their plea was not taken, because the court took notice of the fact that they needed to travel the full haul as far as that thing is concerned. The pastor was in a Lacoste, and then the chief was in a Batson shirt, and so they were walked out of the court to police custody.
Richard, thank you very much for bringing us up to speed on this story. Tindambes or landlords in the Wa municipality have rejected assertions that a suspect picked up in connection with the Wa killing is mentally ill. At a press conference held in Wa, the landlords insist that the suspect is sane following consultations from their gods. According to them, the suspect, Kankani Adongo, has the art of engaging in criminal killings, especially in the Wa municipality.
The suspect also seen carrying large sums of cash in 100 Ghana cedis, 200 Ghana cedis notes, which led us to conclude that no crazy person would be carrying so much cash around. Anyone who witnessed the suspect as his hiding place will never compare him to someone who is mentally impaired. The allegation that the defendant is mentally ill is unfounded and will never be accepted by us. To clear up any confusion, friends in the media, ladies and gentlemen, let me say that the gods have confirmed the person who has been arrested is a member of the Meditros gang in the region. We are also convinced that he is to be blamed for the atrocities that took place in the Wa municipality, and we will keep working with the gods to apprehend his accomplice in the coming days. Loho, Chare, Nakore, Kambali, and Kongo are some of the communities that have been affected. One of the missing people was found in the shallow grave close to the unfinished structure by a search party as we continue to pray over the situation. Once it was determined that the deceased was a Kongo resident, a combined search party wrapped up its effort the next day, and the culprit was apprehended and handed over to the police. When some objects such as knife, and bike pump were discovered. It was clear that one of the missing persons who come from Chare had been killed and taken there.
And our correspondent Rafiq Salam joins us via Zoom with more on this. Rafiq, the landlords seem to be very resolute. Do we know if they have made their plea known to the police and given them some leads to assist with investigations?
For them, some of the materials that are getting hold on some of the exhibits, talking about some identified routes, and also the arrows that they think that was used by one of the victims were found with this man called suspect Adongo Kankani. And for them, they believe that what has been revealed to them by their God is no other person but Kankani Adongo, because they believe that he's not insane. They think that he's somebody who knows what he's about, and even people are even saying that he has a Facebook account. They are wondering how for somebody who's insane has a Facebook account, and for them, they are rejecting whatever is saying with regard to Kankani is somebody who is mentally ill.
Is this something that is supported by the rest of the community, or the landlords are alone in this?
The whole of the Wallo community are into this, because everybody is rejecting that offer. Because even in town, some people have even claimed that they saw him in town a few days ago before he was arrested. So for them, they think that suspect Adongo is not mentally ill.
Rafi, thank you very much for the update. And we'll do some stories on the economy now. International ratings agency Fitch is warning government to back off any plans to restructure its domestic debt. Fitch says any such attempt to do this will put a lot more stress on the banks. Ghana's economy has in recent times received negative ratings from various agencies, a situation President Akufo-Addo is unimpressed with and had reason to question such outcomes during his address at the United Nations Summit last night.
Credit rating agencies have been quick to downgrade economies in Africa, making it harder to service our debts. The tag of Africa as an investment risk is little more than in substance a self-fulfilling prophecy created by the prejudice of the international money market, which denies us access to cheaper borrowing, pushing us deeper into debts. During times of crisis, the facade of international cooperation under which they purport to operate disappears. We do not have the luxury of being able to pick and choose which problem to solve. None of them can wait. The economic turbulence requires urgent and immediate solution. By 2021, COVID-19 had pushed Africa into the worst recession for half a century. A slump in productivity and revenue, increased pressures on spending, and spiraling public debts confronted us without relent. As we grappled with these economic challenges, Russia's invasion of Ukraine burst upon us, aggravating an already difficult situation. It is not just the dismay that we feel at seeing such deliberate devastation of cities and towns in Europe in the year 2022. We're feeling this war directly in our lives in Africa. Every bullet, every bomb, every shell that hits a target in Ukraine hits our pockets and our economies in Africa.
Economist Professor Lord Mensah says African economies have no option not to go to such markets and to restructure their debts.
Yes, then the market tries on information. And once information changes, the investor may want to be aware what exactly is happening. And everybody knows very well that the African continent poses, more or less a threat when it comes to sovereign investment. And so if it turns up that Africa is not being treated fairly, then he can argue from the point of the premium that is being required by investors to invest in Africa, i.e. looking at the possible excess returns beyond the so-called safe countries that investors are looking out for. Usually, the margins are around 5% to maybe, 10%. That's a difference. Normally, they use America as the safe haven, and effectively, any investor will be looking at the returns beyond what they can get from a safe haven like America. So it is a market that is open. You have to decide whether you may want to borrow from that market or not. Yeah, I mean, debt structuring, restructuring is inevitable because looking at our situation now, we cannot keep on, being under such pressure to satisfy our interest obligations and all this. So it is something that we may have to look at. But, to look at the impact on, the local market, I would say that, yes, the local market may need some sacrifice in that regard. Because if we don't go through this restructuring to position the economy in such a way that the economy will start picking up, and that will, yield to the benefit of the bank. I don't think there will be a headwind. So that would be the best way for us. But we hope and we are pressed in terms of payment. If we go through restructuring, it will give us some breathing space in the medium term, and so that we can deal with the situation for the economy to pick up again.
Chief Policy Analyst at the Ghana Institute of Public Policy Options, that's Dr. Charles Rekubobe, says government achievements in the fight against corruption should be judged by results and not just rhetorics. Speaking in an interview ahead of the Banredu Memorial Lecture set for today, Dr. Rekubobe said the success of the fight must reflect in getting tangible results.
Corruption. Is that to say you don't see what they see?
I'm an engineer by training. I'm a scientist by training. You deal with the results. You don't deal with perception. You don't deal with desires. You don't deal with political wishes. You don't deal with political statements or goals. If you succeed, the success should be reflected in the reduction in corruption, reduction in pilfering, reduction in the misappropriation of the public purse. That, for me, is what you need. You see, you don't need to go out and tell everybody, I have done this or I'm doing that. The same thing with the fight with Galamsey, for example.
I was just about to get to that.
Galamsey. You can keep talking about, last week I heard somebody talking about the government came out with a blueprint for fighting Galamsey. Well, a blueprint that is not put on the road to actually fight,
right,
doesn't take you very, very far. So there are a lot of great noises being made. It paints a good picture. Tend to convince your own that you are doing well. But, we have a situation where I'm told, we are told by Bloomberg, for example, that up to 150,000 tons of our cocoa are likely to be rejected because they've been poisoned by the effects of illegal mining and
mercury, cyanide.
Yeah, exactly. So, not only are we seeing the failure, it's now even beginning to affect our main economic activity. And I really think that we are people that talk too much and not do enough. So the proof of the pudding, as they say, is in the eating.
Is in the eating.
So if you want us to believe that you are really fighting corruption, then let's see corruption going down in a realistic, palpable way, so that people do not get onto radio stations or the media or make a lot of noise about how we are fighting corruption.
And the Banredu lecture comes off at 4 p.m. at the Kofi Annan International, India ICT Center. That's at Bridge. The Vice President of Imani Ghana, Bright Simmons, will be speaking on the topic buying for the public good from the public purse, redeeming Ghana's fiscal sanity in the asylum of public financial reforms. You don't want to miss it. You're watching JoyNews today with me, Ernest. Our politicians are using divide and rule tactics to control the rest of us. That's a verdict of policy analyst Dr. Steve Mantiao. He insists Ghana cannot prosper unless NPP and NDC politicians tackle issues based on how it affects the socio-economic well-being of citizens instead of their political fortunes. Dr. Mantiao made the remarks at the Ghana Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative Forum in Sunyani, from where Precious Sembevo reports.
The Bunu and Ahafo Regions Stakeholder Dissemination Forum in Sunyani was to discuss the 2019 Ghana Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative GATI reports for the mining and oil and gas sectors. It also aimed at creating the required public awareness, generating interest and debate on the issues raised in the reports, and pave way for stakeholder engagement on the reports as required by the EITI standard. The National Coordinator for GATI, Alhaji Bashiru Abdul Razak, said the recommendations of the reports inform policy directions of the government.
Government has responded to some of the policy calls in the extractive sector through the policy recommendations that we have been outlining in the course of the production of this report. These discussions will put government on checks to be both financially responsible and accountable on the use of extractive sector revenues. We believe that it is only through this kind of sensitization and engagement among key stakeholders that the issues highlighted in the report will be disseminated.
Speaking to the media, policy analyst and co-chair of GATI, Dr. Steve Mantiao, said there is still more to do to optimize the benefits of natural resources extraction in Ghana.
Up until now, we've managed to ensure that citizens have access to information on how our vital natural resources, and I mean gold, oil and gas, are being managed. What we haven't quite managed to achieve is that critical transition we need to make from transparency to accountability. And what that will entail is we want to see citizens now beginning to use the EITI report, but also the PIAC reports to demand accountability from duty bearers. It may even involve going to court sometimes where it is revealed in this report that the Minister of Finance or whichever public office holders has blatantly flouted the law.
And let's do some other stories here on JoyNews today. Amaja Tubala Services Limited, a joint venture between Tenaris and Amaja, has commissioned 2-unit classroom for the people of Kwame in the Ahanta West municipality of the Western region. The dilapidated facility, which had served the community for a long time, was reconstructed following various appeals by the chiefs and people.
Teachers and pupils of Kwame Basic School in the Ahanta West municipality for more than a decade studied under frustrating conditions which did not support improved academic performance. The dilapidated building was a threat to the safety of pupils, teachers, and some residents. Teaching and learning were halted anytime it rained and was greatly obstructing during the peak of the raining season.
This is where we were on Friday. Then the rain started. We were here since Monday, but nothing happened. But unfortunately, Friday the rain fell. So because of that, the roofing removed, and we went to that class just because of the rain.
I and my colleagues are sitting. Whether I have the disease or they have, I can't tell. So I want to plead. Everything that I will say is pleading. The government should help us because we are suffering a lot. The disease is not gone, so the government should help us. This is what I want to tell the government.
The plea of the people caught the attention of Amaja Tubular Services after JoyNews visited the school when the roof of one of the classes was ripped off during the raining season last year. Commissioning the project's managing director of Amaja Tubular Services, Frederick Okla, said the project will replace the life-threatening structure which was used as a classroom for the past decade. He said providing an enabling environment for the school would eventually accumulate into improved performance among the school pupils.
The edifice is a 2-unit classroom block, and each unit is designed and furnished to accommodate a maximum of 50 pupils or students. We actually began the construction of this facility in May 2021, and we had it completed in August this year. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, studies show that the physical condition of school buildings positively affects school completion and interest of the students. Our conviction as an organization, however, is that Kwame Nkrumah DA Basic School is well positioned by this intervention to increase school enrollments and improve teaching and learning under conducive environments.
Municipal Chief Executive for the Ahanta West Municipal Assembly, John Ajari, who graced the occasion, said the intervention would mitigate a major challenge of the school. He, however, called for maintenance to sustain the project.
Government alone cannot satisfy our needs. Therefore, when we are fortunate to get companies coming to our aid, then I think it's a very good example, and we need to applaud them. To the teachers and the community, a major company will come back to see what we are using this thing for. Sometimes, when such a thing is being built for a community, what we normally do is that we say it is a government project, and maintenance and other things is left for the government to do it. Madam Headmistress, and then the people of Kwame Nkrumah, let Amaja come back to see this beautiful edifice being there, very nice, and when they see the beauty of it, they will come and do more.
Headmistress of the school, Hannah Kuntu Amponsa, expressed gratitude to Amaja Tubular Services for helping solve the major challenge as a school.
Thankfully, Amaja Tubular Services came to our aid with this beautiful 2-unit classroom, completely finished block. We highly appreciate their gesture. Like Oliver Twist, we can always ask for more. Amaja, in fact, you do all. Thank you very much.
For JoyNews in Athalia, Kwanza, Western Region.
Time now to take a break here on JoyNews today with me, Ernest. When we return, we'll bring you business, and a former Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Ebenezer Odro, is calling for a shift away from the export of raw cocoa beans to value addition. Daryl Kwao will bring us details after the break. Stay with us.
Sure.
Hello, good afternoon. It's time to do business with me, Beverly Broom. A former Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Ebenezer Odro, has called for a shift away from the export of raw cocoa beans to value addition. According to him, Ghana will continue to earn very little from cocoa if it is not processed before exporting. Giving a lecture at the 75th anniversary of Cocoa Board, Professor Odro said such a move will also guarantee farmers high returns.
Private investors must be encouraged to invest in cocoa value addition. I'm sure you've addressed that. See you. And this is very, very, very necessary. Of course, when there's value addition, we process our cocoa. At least the farmers are also assured of good money for their pockets, farm gate prices. And that encourages people to get into cocoa production. We need to devise local content models that will encourage Ghanaians to invest in cocoa product manufacturing. Now we keep importing fertilizers. This is something very serious. Pesticides and other farm implements for our farming activities. Mr. Chairman, can we change this narrative? Is it possible to change this narrative? So as we speak today, I've asked someone to meet the Minister of Energy to make a proposal on how we can produce our fertilizers locally. We have the capacity to do it. Seriously, we do. When you go to Atuabo, all that wing sits empty. We have the capacity to do it, but it's not being done. So we have to change the narrative, and it must be done now.
Now, the Kumasi Technical University is engaging the Swami Magazine Industrial Development Organization to foster academia-industry collaboration. It's envisaged to wind up in the signing of a memorandum of understanding which will allow the sharing of knowledge between the two institutions. The executives of the SMIDO have therefore paid a familiarization visit to the Faculty of Engineering and Technology State-of-the-Art workshop at the Adako Jachi campus.
The KSTU's Faculty of Engineering and Technology State-of-the-Art workshop is equipped with the latest machinery in areas of electronics, automotive, milling and machine design. Vice Dean of the faculty, Dr. Prince Osuansa, also for the collaboration will be crucial in ensuring effective partnership between the formal and the informal sector for sustainable development.
The main aim is to sign an MOU, but as I said earlier on, we wanted them to come and see what we really have here. Some of them, that doesn't mean we really have this particular edifice here. Then we have really gone far, but we want them to come and see this particular edifice that we have here, and then we can really sit down. The Vice Chancellor, the Provost here are all into this. The Minister of Education is really into this, and then once they see this, we are going to come out with what we think can help them. They also bring yes, and they will sit down and then really sign an MOU, which will really benefit the two of us. We want to exchange knowledge. We also want to create income generation between our youth and the informal sector.
Chairman of SMIDO, Albert Kofi, believes the collaboration will boost particularly Ghana's automotive industry.
We are trying to see how best we can, the formal sector can collaborate with the informal sector. So now we are being introduced to so many things that can help us for that collaboration. So from here we are going to also to pick from here how best we can move on with our automotive or engineering industry. So it's a very nice collaboration.
Reporter for JoyNews, Kwesi Debra.
That's all for business now, but we have more business news when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Beverly Broom. Up next.
Good afternoon. Let's do sports now on JoyNews today with me, Muftau Nabila Abla. Black Stars head coach Otto Addo says he's open to the idea of playing Mohamed Kudus as a false nine for the senior national team. This is on the back of the 22-year-old sizzling form in a makeshift role, scoring in the last 4 matches for Ajax Amsterdam. Joy Sports' Haruna Mubarak has the rest of the story. Still on the same match, which kicks off at 6:30 p.m., President of the Ghana Football Association, Kurt Okreku, he wants the players invited not to take the opportunity given to them for granted.
Ghana has called upon each one of you to come and serve. And I'm extremely happy that all of you have responded positively to the clarion call. This journey started months and months ago, and the ultimate was achieved on the 29th of March in Abuja. That ultimate was a qualification of our dear country to the Mondial. That's the World Cup. Beyond the 29th of March has been a preparatory period that will take all of us to the competitive and the biggest stage of football. And the assembly here is a continuation of our preparations towards the World Cup. I'm extremely happy that all of you have answered to this call. And as individuals, you should be extremely happy and proud that you are here. Because obviously, you're not the only footballers who represent Ghana. There are a lot more who could have been here. But Ghana has given you the chance to be here. And it's very important that each one of us do not take this opportunity so lightly. The World Cup, which is the immediate assignment ahead of this team, is the biggest platform any footballer, Amate, can think about. Okay, the World Cup is the biggest platform anybody who works in the football industry can think about. So it's a period where the entire world will be watching each one of us to make our individual selves proud and to make our dear country great and strong. It's you guys who have the opportunity to put our dear country.
That'll be all for sports, but we do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com. New Black Stars players look sharp. That's a report from my colleague George Adejunior, who is currently in camp with the team. And then also, which player won the initiation dance battle? Which player won it? You have an opinion. Follow us on all our social media handles, Joy Sports, GH on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and share with us your opinion. That is your sports for now, but we do have more sports story too at 2 p.m. when we come your way with sports today. Up next is Showbiz.
Bringing some updates in the world of showbiz. Once again, the 20-year-old seasonal anthem crooner, Black Sharif, has called another shot, and the masses are listening to it. Sharif is still aiming for gold with another single dubbed Soja. The Konongo-born released the song on Thursday, September 22, and the cadence is already being touted as impeccable. Blacko feels like he needs to man up for the people. It is at this intersection where the young act also deliberates on the potential dip in his skyrocketing career. If here he struggles, well, that'll be all for Showbiz, and that's how we wrap up JoyNews today. Many thanks for your company. We have more stories on myjoyonline.com. Up next is the marketplace.